Hello, 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 and welcome to the Lifestyle Show with me, Pam Joseph. Now, so sort of like, obeying the government advice of social distancing, you are all now welcome to my humble abode. We like to do this. We call it remote style. Okay, so welcome one and all. Right, now, we still have so many, well wishers and giving us, warm messages as well about the show and what we're doing and giving us the big thumbs up. Keep on going, keep on trucking. And we're trying to do our very, very best. And thank you ever so much. All right. Now, for the next few hours or so, we're going to be, we're going to ask you to stay tuned with us. And we're going to sort of give you an edutainment of issues and topics and what have you. And it's all good. It really is. You're also very welcome to interact on the show, and you can do that. But any comments you'd like to make or questions you'd like to post to any of our guests today. Now, we got a big one again. We do the panel. We want to follow the movement Black Lives Matters. Of course, we do. We're going to be talking again to some movers and shakers, UK style, and hearing what they have to say about their industry and what they'd like to see happen and what have you. We're going to keep that up, and we will. So you can do that. Here are ways you can do that. Message us via the YouTube platform at MediaNet Live TV, on Facebook, Lifestyle on Ben, tweet us at Lifestyle TV Show, or email us, Lifestyle on Ben, or one word, Lifestyle on Ben at hotmail.co.uk. Right. I think by now you know what I do. Bring my co-conspirator. And let's say howdy to Mr. Anthony Jordan, aka the Dark Persuader.
Hey Pam, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
What's going on? You getting more money than me? What's this grand piano?
I'm Stevie Wonder's coming around later to play it. It was just the lucky 6 numbers, as it were. Go online. I'm not going to endorse the company, but it was 6 numbers, and here I am.
Don't be silly. You're a champion winner. You are my best friend. You do know that.
Me?
Yeah.
I am. Okay, I thought it was
No.
Doug.
It's,
okay.
It's
All right. Your check's in the post.
Yeah, thank you. As well, no cash in hands and check straight into my bank account. Thank you very much.
That's the one.
Okay. We've got 2 competitions here, Anthony, today. So, and we're going to be reading out later on the winner of what we had last week, and that was your very intricate question.
Yeah, so some people got it wrong and thought I was asking where did he move to. No, I did not ask where Terrell Lewis moved to. I asked where was his first performance held, and that was the question. So it was not where did he move to, from London. It was where was his first performance held, and the answer was aha.
I swear
it was in Essex. Well, thank you very much.
So we're going to give all that information later on towards the end of the show, because we want you all to listen up again. Hold of the program. We are going to be posing a question to you, and it would have been something that's discussed, something that's said. Listen very, very carefully. We have not only got that great, lovely company, Dargetti Teas, with their absolutely beautiful herbs and teas and spices and what have you, but we've also got Losters, and we're celebrating Father's Day.
Indeed we are. I sent my cards out to both my granddads, sent one to my dad, so everyone's happy. I didn't share the winnings, I just spent it all on the house.
So
it was a cardage.
Exactly, a cardage, that would do. So we've got two competitions.
Indeed, 2 very big ones. We've got some herbal teas for all to enjoy, and we have got the S-Curl. I have seen it, people. I swear to you, it is the hamper of hampers. You've got something for the top, you've got something for the beard. You've got the S-Curl beard balm and oil. You've got the S-Curl hair shampoo, conditioner, and the grease to put it in there. It's top.
You know what? I could do a bit of that now. My hairdresser's gone.
Father's Day gift.
You can't do the sort of touching of hair at the moment. I know the hairdresser salons are going to be opening soon. I have my lady, and I haven't seen her for a couple of months, and my hair hasn't.
Do you know the really sad thing? I don't know if you've heard the news. When you do see her, you're not allowed to catch up, because as per Boris, we're not allowed to talk to our hairdressers. So just text them. I
can't tell them all the secrets about the Dark Persuader. My gosh, that's not good enough.
And his lucky 6 numbers.
and he's lucky 6'11". Can I just say about moringa with ginger? The moringa with ginger, one of the Dargettis. This is absolutely A1. This is
I'm actually looking forward to tasting that because I'm quite a big fan of both moringa and.
It's in me cup. We got it there.
So clearly you have another best friend before me.
Well, not really. But last night, what was really soothing, I had the Sarassi Carilla bitter lemon. Nice. Very soothing. Knocked off. Lovely blends, and they always do the lovely blends. Get Dargetti teas. Excellent. All right then, sir.
Yeah, we shall catch up.
Yeah, nicely. Yeah. See you in a bit.
I'm going to practice on the piano while you interview.
Yeah, right.
See ya.
Right. Okay. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, last week, you may remember, I told you about the horrific double murder of sisters Bibaa Henry and Nicole Smallman in a northwest London park, and appealed for witnesses to come forward. Well, stepping on to that appeal and giving us an update on the investigation, joined now by Detective Chief Inspector Simon Harding of the Metropolitan Police Force. Good day to you. Thank you ever so much, DCI Harding. I know you are extremely busy, and I thank you for taking the time out to speak to us today.
That's fine. Thanks for inviting me, Pam. It's important to get the message out, so to speak to as many people as possible is really important for the investigation, so thank you very much.
Excellent. Just for the benefit of those viewers who perhaps don't know enough or perhaps didn't even know about this, can you please give us a recap of this horrific crime?
Yeah, so Nicole and Bibaa are sisters. They were in Bryant Country Park on Friday the 5th of June, celebrating Bibaa's 46th birthday, and got there around about 20 to 8 in the evening. They were joined by a group of friends, making up about 10 in all. And during the course of that evening, they were listening to music and dancing, kind of social distancing as well. Just having nibbles to eat, just really enjoying themselves with their friends. And during the course of that night, their friends left, and Bibaa and Nicole were left alone around about midnight, now into Saturday the 6th of June. What we know after that is that Nicole sent a message around about 1:05 in the morning to somebody else on their phone. And we released a couple of photographs this week taken by Nicole and Bibaa around at that time where they were dancing, listening to music, and they were whirling some fairy lights around as well. They're quite artistic, and they're taking pictures of themselves and still images of the lights whirling around. And it's important because that is a kind of trigger to people to, did you see something, something that just grabbed your attention around about that time? And the last photograph was taken about 13 minutes past 1 in the morning. And then after that, efforts to call them from around about 2:30 in the morning were unanswered by both girls. And then later on, unfortunately, right the way through to Sunday, they were discovered in the park itself, having been unfortunately stabbed to death.
Yeah, let's just go to the field of the park. It's Bryant Country Park. Can I just say something, DCI Harding? It's been always said that it's Wembley. I always thought it was Kingsbury, NW9. What are we right in the juxtaposition of saying Kingsbury, NW9?
Yeah, it is Kingsbury. That's fair to say. I think people, it's funny that people just kind of associate. They call it Wembley. It's kind of a big place that people know close by. Kingsbury's not always the most known place in London to people, especially if they're not from that area. So, yeah, it is in Kingsbury. It's quite a large park, so it touches quite a lot of areas around from all its points anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, you say in your report that it was a lone assailant. Now, I need to ask you this really seriously. How do you determine that it was a lone assailant? Are we talking eyewitnesses? Are we talking CCTV images?
Well, I haven't said it's a lone assailant. What I've said is that it's believed to be a stranger attack. Now, that's come on the part where everybody that was at the gathering that time and looking into Bibaa and Nicole's life, that there's no person and no one close to them and no reason why this would have happened to them from somebody close. And we have DNA of a male that was been left at the scene, and only one DNA. So I can't rule out there was a second person there, but there's nothing that suggests at this time that there was more than one. So that's.
Yeah, but I hear that. Now, we all watch CSI. We all know that you can determine the nationality or origin of a person through the blood analysis. So saying that to you now, do you already know the nationality of the assailant with the blood that was taken?
No, not yet. That's not a quick process by any means. There's I've brought in the National Crime Agency, the NCA, into the investigation to assist with the progression of DNA and not just in heritage, as you're talking about, to identify where in the world particularly that DNA came from, but also possibly any family lines that we can find as well. So it's not a quick process. The scene itself, for example, is going to be open for many weeks to come as well. It's a very meticulous search we're doing. We found items in a pond a few hundred meters away. So there's quite a large area. So all those sort of things you're thinking about DNA are all happening. They don't happen overnight. We're still trying to interpret what's happened as well. So yes, it continues at pace, but it's not always the pace that you want, obviously.
Yeah, it almost sounds as if the killer had time, if you will, to dispose of various belongings. You say you found phones in the pond. Other items were picked up, without realizing how important they were by, a good souled, person who picked up things and put them in the rubbish and things like that. And you've asked for people if they've stumbled against anything. So it's almost seen as if the killer had time to, if you will, take these belongings and spread them about and try to get rid of them.
Yeah, it's unusual. And again, when I come back to interpreting the scene, it's very difficult to understand exactly what's happened in that period of time at the moment. And we have scientists from all over and different specialities, niche services coming in to help us identify what's happened. But certainly with the property, yeah, I mean, it was it's quite often in that park that people will, the following morning after the night before, people go and clear up litter to keep their park nice and clean. People did do that, and then the items were taken to a bin and then taken to a refuse dump locally. And our officers spent many days there, knee deep in all the rubbish, trying to identify and seize lots of items that. And we've pretty much got as much probably as we can find now. We're talking hundreds, possibly thousands of tons worth of rubbish to go through. So we've got as much as we can at the moment.
Yeah, that's very hard and dedicated work there. We now look at the safety of others. I'm going to talk about, as females, females were slain. I am a female. We have many females who go to the park with their children and what have you. I frequent that park. It's local to me. It's local to me. Now, I need to come a bit more direct with this. How safe are we as females around the area of Kingsbury / Wembley?
It's an extremely valid point to make, and especially when you hear the phrases of stranger attacks and things like that, it naturally puts fear into people. And as much as we can do to take that fear away by putting extra patrols, the local officers around there are determined to reassure members of the public around Kingsbury and all that local area. And we have still a large presence there at the moment in terms of the investigation, but also with officers. But it really is one of those things where it's just remaining vigilant and coming to us with thoughts about somebody that is particularly suspicious, or not just back then that you're trying to think of, but even now. It's possible the person could live local. We don't know. They could have travelled in. We just don't know that at the moment. So, it is about identifying people that might be suspicious, calling us, and then because we have DNA, we can eliminate that person straight away. And there's lots of points that I made last week, especially about the cut, possibly to the hand. Yes. The person that has, done this has sustained what I would think really is quite a significant cut, somewhere probably close to the hand, bottom of the arm, something like that. And so there's going to be somebody in our community, in your community, it's somewhere where they have a bandage or something which is all of a sudden completely unexplained. And people have a fear of and sometimes don't want to maybe put someone forward because they don't want to upset them and suggest they might have done something. And it could even be a mum or a dad who's got a son sitting there or something else who might be might be responsible and they're just worried about putting him forward, obviously in case it's them. But equally, I say, that it's so important to identify this person naturally for what you're saying about the fear that can be caused by this, to get them as quickly as possible.
Indeed, indeed. Last week, as I said, we spoke about it. We had various comments and questions coming through from viewers, and a couple of them sort of like reiterated the same thing. Now, I have to give you this, and I have to say it because they're going to expect me to say this. Are you looking at the possibility that this could be a race hate attack?
Yeah, so I've discussed that with the family as well, and the main thing at the moment is we don't know what the motive is. So it remains a top motive like anything else. Particularly, in the current climate with Black Lives Matters, it's an important thing to look at. But, we would look at different motives, whether it was a sexual motive, whether it was a race motive, whether it's just a random, or whether there was an argument, anything it could be. I think in particular to look at with this as well is, and having discussed this with the family quite a lot, if you look at Nicole, she actually gets described as white very often in her life. She looks even Italian. She's been called Italian in the past. So I don't think if you looked at them together, you would say necessarily that was, the motive that stands out at the moment. But 100%, if there is any inkling that it is, it will be dealt with as such. But at the moment, there's nothing to suggest that until we know, the only person that can tell us that is the person that did it at the moment.
Yeah, okay. We've got, this is coming through now. To Stella from Willesden asks, I've been visiting the Frying Park for years and even bring my young children there. Is it no longer a safe place to go? I just basically said it myself. Yeah,
I mean, that again, it's probably the same answer I gave before. Yeah. It's so important to catch this person as quickly as possible, which is why, we can't do that alone. It's about the public helping us. It's about local residents taking themselves back to the 5th of June, the 6th of June. Did they see anyone suspicious? Do they know anyone now with this cut to their hand? That sort of thing, so that my team can then work on them. And we've had hundreds of calls from members of the public and a fantastic response from the local residents around the park. And like your caller says there, that it's important that safety comes back to that park, and the reassurance that we give to everybody is important. So.
Right. Mark from Stanmore asks, why isn't the police going as far as a reconstruction of the night in question, seeing as this is such a horrific crime?
Reconstructions are all part of what we are doing. We are looking at reconstructions, but there is, with the resources we have, and we have quite a lot, we've brought in counter-terrorism officers and everybody to help us with this, to boost the numbers.
Yes.
But we have priorities at the moment, which we need to do. That's speaking to people, seizing CCTV still, going around, understanding who lives in different houses. There are priority lists that I have to work through. Reconstruction is one of them. We are talking about doing that already. So it's certainly, your caller is completely right. It's part of the investigation toolkit that we use. But at this stage, there are other priorities which are taking my officers elsewhere.
Yeah. Brian from Crookerwood says, surely if there's CCTV, you've just said it, surely if there's CCTV surrounding the park, why don't we have a full description of the murderer?
Well, we don't have him on CCTV yet, quite simply. So we have CCTV. Not every street has CCTV. So, you have council CCTV in some places. Certainly around that park, there's a limited CCTV. So we rely on members of the public who have Ring doorbells, other CCTV on their houses. And then when you seize that, you're talking about thousands and thousands of hours. We have a time frame. We don't know where the person was before this happened. So we don't know when they entered the park. We don't know when they left the park. They could have stayed there and blended in for a little while, albeit with a cut hand or cut arm. So you're not just talking about an exact time. We know exact times when phones and photographs were taken and messages sent, but we don't know when this person went in the park. And of course, everyone knows there are hundreds and hundreds of people using that park at the moment. Before this happened, there were people up on that hill celebrating and doing things as well. So without knowing who that person is at the moment, we don't know what person we're looking for. If someone walks out of the park, it's very difficult to understand. Hundreds of people are walking out. Which one of them is is the attacker.
Attacker. The only thing is that you say the bloodied hand. So possibly, well, the hand could have been put in a pocket, but the hand may have had something over it. That could be a possibility. You know your job, though. You know exactly what you're doing. But as you're talking to me, I want an image to be sent. Theo, can you put the image of the last pictures shown of the girls with the lights? I want the description that DCI Harding spoke about. A picture coming up, that image of Nicole and Bibaa. Last couple of pictures of the sisters shown before their murder. That looks kind of really, really eerie to look at that.
Yeah, it does. And you know, we spoke to the family at length about putting these photographs out. They fully support it because they want, you know, as much as everybody else does who lives around in that area, they want this person caught as quickly as possible. And anything that we can do to try and spark someone's memory of you know, where they were at that particular time. Did they see something like this? Hugely important.
DCI Harding, can you give us, first of all, the incident desk number? Can you also give us, people want to perhaps keep anonymous, the Crime Stoppers number as well?
Yeah, so the incident room is 0208 721 4205. That's a direct phone into the incident room. And when I say that's my team there, and if no one's by that phone, you know, at sort of 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is, then there's an answer phone facility there as well. And then Crime Stoppers is anonymous, 0800 555 111. You know, please use that. If you know something, then we can follow that up as well. So, you know, two really important telephone numbers for everyone to remember.
DCI Simon Harding of the Metropolitan Police Force, thank you ever so much for talking to us. And we thank you for your time. I know you're extremely busy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, right. We're going to go for a wee bit of a break now. We're going to meet a young man who's quite an entrepreneur, quite an inventive entrepreneur as well. See you soon. Hi there, welcome back to the Lifestyle Show with me, Pam Joseph. Okay, now we're going to talk to a young man who's got a very inventive mind. He's an entrepreneur and he's doing his things in his own right. He's just created this particular gadget. He'll explain it all to you. We're going to have some images of that as well. So let me introduce to you Michael Omotosho to the Lifestyle Show. Michael.
Hi, Pam.
Hi there, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. Thank you so much.
It's it's so simple. Sorry, before you're going to tell the guests about this, I was going to give them a little kind of a hint. When I saw it, it's such a simple thing, but yet why didn't anyone else think of it? So this is what you talk about, being an inventive mind, because it is like, oh, good, why didn't we think of that? You know, but this is such a great thing. You're going to describe it, and I hope we're going to have those images up of the gadget that I'm talking about. So first of all, Michael, let's talk about how did you get into this sort of world of inventing things? What was it? What do you fiddle about with things? You know, do you always fiddle about with things?
Pretty much exactly what you just said. Yeah, from a young age, I've been that there's destroyed things at home, and probably parents didn't know about it because I put them back together. Only maybe they didn't work back the way they were before. So that's been my mindset. I've always had this inquisitive mindset to figure out how things work. Hence the career path I took. So I studied automotive design at university. So worked in the automotive industry for a while, about 5 years or 6. And then from there, I just felt like, you know, it was a bit restrictive. So I wasn't allowed to be more creative about my ideas and solutions. So I decided to, you know, come out from the industry of engineering and decided to start designing my own products and putting them into market. And the whole ethos about designing products is to see a difference and make an impact as well. So that was the whole point of me coming up with products that helps people. Even past projects I've done as well as always had an influence of having people inclusive together. So you could have people from learning disability or fully able people, you know, just finding one common product they could relate with. And that's always been, you know, my kind of way of finding fulfillment in what I'm doing, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the gadget. Theo, can we get that up? Let's talk about this particular gadget. This is your latest invention, is it?
Yes, it is.
It's all right. Let's have a look at that. I thought it was, well, oh my gosh, you're so handy, but I didn't think of it. What made you think of doing something like this? Is that the mindset? What made you think of doing that? Is it about past experiences, about family experience? It's about friends with experience?
Yeah, it has been, it's something that was going on in the background, but I never paid much attention to it. So my grandma has arthritis, and we've had moments where she said, go up and pull out the plug. Even my mom as well. Sometimes you want to deem it as being lazy, like, oh yeah, but it's actually a problem that we overlook and we don't try to figure out how to come up with a solution for it. We just say we'll manage it. So I was struggling with it at one point. I was like, oh my days, this is actually difficult. I need to see what I could do about this. So I went online and see what exists in the market, to do a bit of market research and see what the solutions were. But they weren't appealing enough, and it wasn't inclusive. And being a designer, you know, I had that mind that, no, I'm sure there's something better out there. So I just set out and said, you know, I'm going to make a difference and make something new and different that would make sense. And the idea just normally takes time and process to come up with ideas, because you have to keep refining and stuff. But I just sketched on paper. Yeah, and the idea just came down on paper. I was like, this is it. This is it.
Let's go through the stages. You just said something that's just clicked to me there. So you go through the stages. So you have, first of all, the idea, the light bulb goes click. Yeah. Then putting it down on paper. So now from that point, when you do put the idea, it's a written idea. How does the design come into it?
So the design aspect comes in from having a vision. So I'm kind of like, sometimes I could be thinking about an idea in my head of how it would actually work. Then from there, I figure out sketching on paper. Then I find a way to demonstrate the idea in my brain. So it's kind of like allowing yourself to gaze away and imaginate something in a way. You just have to have that creative thinking phase or creative mind to be able to see how things would work. Then being able to communicate that into paper, that's where it could be tricky sometimes, because you could have a vision of how it's going to work and the mechanism and whatnot, but putting it on paper is a problem. So if you can put it on paper, then you can have the ability to design on computer. So this is CAD design, so 3D modeling. So that's what I was able to do. Then I did the 3D printing, and then I was able to try it out to see if it actually worked the way it was envisioned in my head. So
try it out. So at this point, you've now created the protocol, if you will. Right. So who do you go to create? Because this particular gadget, you didn't go in your kitchen and make it. So where did you go to actually make it?
So I'll tell you a second. So I actually have a 3D printer. So I 3D printed the first prototype myself. So yeah, and tried it out. So so it's quicker to 3D print ideas before going to the manufacturer.
So you've got the 3D. And then you now need to go to the manufacturer. So this is at this point now. So you've gone up with your 3D layout, your thing. How easy is it to go to a manufacturer and say, here, can you do me a batch of this? Talk to us.
I wouldn't say straightforward. It took me a while to find a manufacturer, to be honest with you. So I wanted to make something that was British made as well. I didn't want to go to China and go get it done. I wanted to find something local to me. So it took me about maybe over 6 months, but it was helpful being able to see how it looked like first, because most people, the issues they have when they have ideas is they don't know how it's going to look like. So it's a bit difficult to explain your ideas to people, or maybe you make a sketch and the sketch doesn't look close to what your idea and your thought was. So I think the benefit and advantage I had was having that understanding. I think my past experience helped as well in terms of being able to outsource and find out manufacturers that will do it to the way I want it to be.
Sometimes could it be a hit and miss? Sometimes when they've done it, no, that's not right. So would they go back and do it again?
Oh yeah. So even with my experience, I had to do 2 molds to get it right. So the first one was actually slightly different from what it is now, because we're selling now. But the first one was actually had to meet some safety regulations. It had to meet standards as well. Make sure it's now hazard as well, because it's working with your electrical appliances. So there were so many thoughts and going back and forth. Investment as well. This is when you're taking your personal savings and putting it into something. So there was a lot of that going into it. In as much as you said, it's so little and simple, but yeah, it was.
What a remarkable gadget. Michael, do you have a sample? Do you have one of them with you that we can see? Let's just get the viewers, because we need to let the viewers know what we're talking about. I don't know what we're talking about.
I should have that. Can you bear with me a minute? Is that okay?
Oh my gosh, you ain't got pajama bottoms on, have you?
No.
Oh, that's all right. You're excused. Be quick. All right, on. So, yeah, look at that. Such a simple thing, but you wouldn't think of it. Now, you just spoke about he's a relative having, you know, sort of arthritis and an arthritic hand. So, you know, any relative that or any friends that you know with an arthritic hand, how hard it is. Let alone don't talk about, you know, just the plug going, pulling a plug out. That is so hard for someone with an arthritic hand or who does suffer with arthritis. So I thought we've got it there, Michael. Thanks for your effort, but it's great to see you there. So, right.
So it comes in a pack of 3. So it comes in different colors as well.
And
so
different.
and we've got glow in the darks as well for when it's dark at night, for visibility at night. So I just ran down the stairs. I need to catch my breath.
You young man, you. Come on, fix up. Okay, so let's go through this again. Your relative had arthritis, and you just said, bang. Well, how could I help taking out? The worst one is taking out the plug, because we all even sometimes, even just normal, you know, even with me, sometimes I struggle to take a plug out. So imagine having arthritis in your hand. So then you just thought, how could I help my relative?
Yeah. So it was more of a problem I saw within myself. Then it had to take me back to comments and, you know, those little conversations you've had here and there, and it felt like it's gonna be helpful for me, but for people who are having difficulty with this, is gonna be more of a necessity for them. So that was where the ding stuck into my head and said, you know, this is something surely people would want, and you know. And I've been privileged to do a few shows already, and the response I've had has been overwhelming, because it's like, really, like, you guys really found this? Because to be fair, I didn't really think it was meant to be a personal thing, to be fair with me, just to put it in my house and just.
A viewer asking, Therese is asking, where can I get one, and how much does it cost, mate?
So you can go to our website. It's www.plugo.com. So it's PLUGULL. I don't know if you can see it there. So it comes in a pack of 3, and it's for $5.95. It's made in the UK as well. It's manufactured here as well. So yeah, it's basically for all your needs around your house, really. I use it as well, like, in as much as I don't have any disability or anything, but I find it so helpful. Families and friends, everyone. There's a woman, a lady that messaged me as well. She said, you know, when it comes to people who had chemotherapy when they had cancer, like when they come out of cancer, like they have impairment in the fingers a bit, so it's a bit hard to struggle. I didn't even know about that. You know, I'm discovering new solutions to new problems that Plugo is solving, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Just makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Supreme TV are asking, what shops is it in? Or
so it's a website at the moment. So we're trying to extend to other shops at the moment. We had a few stint with JMO, but it didn't materialize as we wanted it to be. So you might see advert on JML as well, but you would have to come directly to the website itself, which is www.plugo.com. That's where you get it there. So just type in Plugo, you'll be the first thing you see, really.
But Michael, by now these things should be sold in Asda's and Morrison's.
I know. This is the part of me that is not so business intuitive. Like, I am the designer. I'm the guy that comes up, you know, designs the idea for you. I just put it out there for you or something. So this is the business side. I'm learning as well. Being an entrepreneur or trying to get a product into market has not been so straightforward. You know, it's a learning curve for me. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm open to people who are willing to offer this stuff.
You need a marketing person. You need a marketing person. You know, so there's a shout out there. You know, Michael. You know, he's the inventor. He can't be dealing with that really. He just invents things, right? He needs a marketing person. Get it out there. You know,
yeah, definitely.
And to get it out there, we need it in all our shops. We need it even in our DIYs down the road, our local. You know, to come and get this thing. I love that bit about it. You know, the fluorescent ones in the night, because, you know, people with, you know, eyesight not very good, and you know, to see where things are as well. I think that's so absolutely fantastic. Is that the same price then, the glow ones?
So it's just £1 extra. So it's yeah.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. What's your website details, sir? We want to know a bit more about you.
Sure. So my website is michaelomotosho.co.com. So like I said, I do this as well for startup companies as well. We're trying to, like, if you've got an idea, Pam, you could just say, hey Michael, I need to design something, I need to put it into the market, how can you get me doing this and stuff? So I'll be the guy to be like, sure, I'll design it for you, I'll make a 3D model for you, I'll 3D print it for you. So you don't have to go to China before you see a product, if that makes sense. So you can see what it would look like first before considering, let's go to a manufacturer or that kind of thing. So we can always refine and retune ideas before saying this is the final product and let's get into the market. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do, really.
Yeah. So give us to us again.
www.michaelomotosho.com.
Spell that for O-M.
Michael is Michael. Omotosho is Omotosho. Omotosho. It sounds Japanese at times, but yeah, it's Omotosho.
I thought when I saw your image, I was expecting to see East and Oriental, and then I've seen your face come up, this handsome black man. I thought,
on social medias as well, it's Pluggle, so it's PLUGULL. And on my personal social media is the Michael Omotosho. I'm sure if you search my name with that name, you will find me somewhere. So Michael Omotosho, and that's it. I'm available to contact for anything you might need from me.
You've done a standard job here, and you're a great inventor. And we want to hear and see more of you. So I know we're going to be talking again. You're going to come up with another gadget, because I've got to tell Pam about this. I want to get Pam show. I want to tell her about this one and all. All right, lovely jubbly. Michael, thank you so much. I don't know if I could just say Happy Father's Day or my two presumption.
Yeah, definitely. I've got 2 kids, so I'm the age of 2. So yeah, I'm your father.
Happy Father's Day. Yeah. Happy Father's Day. Thank you, Michael. Take care.
And you too. Have a great one.
Thank you. Okie dokie. Right, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Before I do that, we'd really like to hear your views and questions, because we've got a panel coming up, Moves and Shakers, that we do. We're talking about race relations in the UK. So here's your things. You can do go on the YouTube channel, the platform there, MediaNet Live TV, on our Facebook page, Lifestyle on Ben. Tweet at Lifestyle TV, or email lifestyleonben@hotmail.co.uk. See ya after this. Hi there, welcome back to the Lifestyle Show with me, Pam Joseph. Okay, the impact of the death of George Floyd in the States last month is really crossed over the Atlantic into the United Kingdom. There've been marches, there've been protests, there've been the taking down of undesirable statues, there've been political debates and discussions, magnifying race relations right here in the UK. I told you how to get in touch with us, and I hope that you're going to do that. Let me introduce the panel today. It's rather a creative panel this week. So we've got music and event promotions and management, Orlando Gittens. Orlando, at least I got you. Hello, darling.
Yeah, you got me.
At least I got you. And we also have a music producer and creator of the record label Ariwa Sounds, Neil Frazer, aka the Mad Professor. Hello. And can I say to both Happy Father's Day?
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully, we're waiting for we'll hope Simone can join us when she gets on. Simone Pennant, we hope she'll join us when she gets on. Let's just really start to kick off on this as well. I spoke about the fact that we have moved it across in the BLM movement has come across to our shores here, and this on this little island. But anyway, it's huge because, you know, race relations in the UK has always been huge. I want to look at all of your prospective, you know, positions coming from. I said it's creative. It's also entertaining as well. So you've asked for things, each of you individually, in what you're doing. You wanted changes. You've always been seeking changes. I want to know what sort of advantage you all are taking on as we deal with the Black Lives Movement in the UK. How are you dealing with that? I prefer, maybe I would have started with Orlando, you're known to the lifestyle. You've always done a lot and you're very passionate about things to say. Talk to me now, in this climate, how's it going to help you? How's it going to help you to move and push things along?
We got a really bad line, but hopefully you can hear me.
Okay.
You can hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. The most important thing for me really is that if we can get a level playing field, I don't want to be treated any different to anybody else. I don't want special advantages. I don't want people to make special dispensations for me. I just want to be treated exactly the same as everyone else. When I go for a venue, obviously I'm a promoter. Oops, see Daisy.
Collapsible.
Over. There you go. I'm a promoter, so obviously venues are very, very important to me. Where I do my events is very, very important.
Yeah.
If somebody decides that they don't want to give me the venue because of the color of my skin, that obviously puts me at a distinct disadvantage to anybody else who's going for the same venue. Yeah. By the same token, if I get charged more, or if I've got different restrictions put on me because I'm black or my audience might be black, that puts me at a distinct disadvantage. I just want to have a level playing field so we're all treated exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah. And how are you going to push this? How can you take advantage? If I'm saying that, and I may be coarse in saying that, but I'm just talking plain.
Yeah.
How can you take advantage now of what's going on to push, you know, the level playing field as you say you want? How can you do that? How would you do this?
At the moment, because it's politically incorrect to say that Black lives don't matter, and it's politically incorrect to be seen to be openly putting some at a disadvantage because they are black. Anything I push for at the moment is going to be treated with kid gloves. At the moment, I'm like a protected species. As a black person now, you speak to anybody who's white about anything to do with anything now, and they're on the back foot straight away. So I can put in a bid for a venue right now, and I know that whatever happens, they're definitely not going to give the impression that they're not putting me in the framework because I'm black. However, my problem is if it doesn't last for longer than a fashion period, then we'll go back to where we was before.
Yeah, and let's bring you in now. You know, you've always, I mean, I've got to say, you know, Neil, you've always fought to try to have more sort of a reggae, Caribbean music across the ways, across, you know, the wider spectrum, not just having the black reggae, but across the ways. And can you now take advantage yourself? We're trying to push to get, you know, more Caribbean music being played out there, or perhaps trying to look for another Choice FM.
Well, there's several things that we're looking at, and I think the climate is now the right time. The problem largely we have is the legacy that the BBC and the broadcasting authorities have when it comes to black music and black people. You know, they love to install like white gatekeepers, so to speak, right? So you always have, like, if you have a program, like say reggae program, or even a cultural music
Neil, push your camera back a bit. We're only getting you from here. Yeah, that's it. There we are. I'd like to see the whole of your beautiful face, sir. Yeah.
Yes. These programs, it's like we're still on the plantation. You know, it's like we got to have some white seal of approval. Now, if the level field was, if the playing field was level, that would be fine. But we've only just recovered from slavery, for one. And two, there's the next problem. Anytime there is issues within the black community, whether it is guys in Tottenham stabbing each other, schoolboys, you know, the white people in charge of the media, so to speak, they don't feel the same sentiments as us. They cannot relate to it. So, you know, I think the BBC in particular have to start employing people from the community to do certain jobs, you know, and they have to get away from this filtering, you know.
Yeah.
That is totally wrong.
Yeah.
You might ask, what do I intend to do about it? Well, you know, I've written. I mean, like even last week, I had an article on Facebook and Instagram, and the response we had, you know, was amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of people, not just in the UK, people in France, people even in Australia, agreed with me when I wrote this article, which was basically saying, why is the reggae and the music industry so silent about supporting the whole racial awareness and the whole like systematic racism that is emerging now around the world. You know, the response has been amazing because the reggae industry in particular has been very, very quiet, considering we coming from Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and all these guys. We've been too quiet, you know. So people have responded, and it transpires that a lot of people are afraid of becoming like victims. They're afraid that producers are afraid that if they speak out, then maybe the records wouldn't be played. You know, artists think, well, if I speak out, maybe promoters wouldn't book me. You know, and like I say, there are parallels to this and the plantation situation, which makes you think, how much have we moved on since 1840 when slavery was abolished? How much have we actually become independent people?
I hear you. So let's quickly go to because you know they're just flooding in. Annabelle from Shoreditch asks, what influences can be made in helping to change the white-faced view of presenters, newsreaders, and commentators were always subjected to on the TV?
Well,
I wish Simone she'd probably come out with something. Go on, who wants to answer that?
Well, I'll give him my bit first. On March the 1st, on August the 1st, rather, Emancipation Day, there's a big meeting at Windrush Square in Brixton, right? And both that day and 2 days afterwards, we are going to have an assembly at the BBC, right? With some attention being drawn to the BBC and to the radio authorities, right? Because they have got to know, like anything else, if they don't know, they don't know. And some of these people, they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble far away from the Black community and far away from the needs of the community. And there are those within the community who really and truly don't want to rock their boats, you know. They might be on their, whether 50,000 or 100,000 a year. Yeah, and they're cool. Hey, keep the peace. No, everything is all right, you know. Shh, don't rock the boat. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because I earn my money from Arriba songs, you know. So a long time I stopped worrying about whether they want to play my records or not. We don't have a huge market, but we've got a market enough to keep me in business.
Yes.
You know. So I could talk. I could open my big mouth anytime. And I could call names. I'm not going to call names to slander anybody, but I will call names to make people aware, look, what you're doing is wrong. Stop it. You know?
Yeah. Excellent. Come on, Orlando. What would you have to say now?
Okay, cool. There's a reality to the situation, and we do live in England. We are the minority here. I don't expect to switch on the television and see, 100% black presenters. If you want to know the truth, I wouldn't even expect to see 50% black presenters, unless it's a specialist platform such as this, which is our own. And I actually think that's probably what the future is. I think that we'll always have somebody on television. But sometimes we might have one or two more than we expect. But it hasn't been no difference when I was growing up. But if I was living in Africa, for argument's sake, and I switched on the television and 90% of the people were white, I'd be horrified. So I think there's a reality to the situation as to what we get over here. However, going back to my earlier point, I still feel that we should be judged on ability and not color. And if we were judged on ability, then we'd have more representation. And maybe what we need to do is impose stricter penalties for people who break the law in regards to racial discrimination. I think the laws covering racial discrimination is absolutely atrocious. For argument's sake, if somebody's found guilty of racial discrimination, you've got 6 months to file a case. Whereas with any other breach of contract, whatever, you've got 5 years. It's expensive to take someone to court for racial discrimination. I'm in the middle of it myself. I've done over £25,000 so far on a racial discrimination case that started 3 years ago because some venue owners decided that they'd never wanted me or other people who were black to use their venue.
We heard about that. Yeah, we heard about that. But we got to sort of like trying to get most of these questions answered because these viewers have made the time to do this. Christopher from Huddeston asks, once the pandemic has died down, what does the panel think the future holds for the type of concerts, dances, and events within our community?
Well, I've got a big concert planned for October, which, to be honest with you, I'm 75% sure now it's going to be postponed to next year. The real problem that we've got with large cases, with large events, is obviously social distancing. Let's say if you've got a venue that holds 3,000 people, as it stands at the moment, they can all sit next to each other or stand next to each other. With social distancing restrictions in place, then obviously it's cutting down the capacity by sometimes 2/3. So it doesn't make it financially viable to hold those concerts. So I would say that next year will be the earliest we get back to any kind of semblance of normality. Yeah. But I know people are looking forward to next year. I also believe that the government have now decided to put the economy before the welfare of the people, the safety of the people, because obviously if people aren't working and there's no money being generated, you're heading towards a bankrupt state. And they're not going to let that happen.
Yeah, nice one, Orlando. Orlando, sit up a bit straighter for me because you're kind of like half of your face is gone. Yeah, that's better. We want to see all your handsome features, sir. So let's see you there. Now, Tony from asks, he says, my question's directly to the Mad Professor. I'm trying to break through into the music business. I'm 15 years old and an up-and-coming singer and rapper. But I'm not sure where to go and what to do.
Well, first thing I'd say is to learn an instrument. See what you fancy. See what you're naturally good at. That's the first thing. Make some demos, and then send it into record companies like ours, and hopefully someone would notice you, but you need to first start to really put yourself at an advantage over others. Start to play an instrument. After that, start to read about other artists in other periods, read about like Michael Jackson, read some biographies and see how different people have different stories, and you could identify, because some of the problems that existed 40 years ago are still problems now. So at least by reading about this, you would be very equipped in what you have to deal with. You know, obviously, the problems relating to race and race relations, we are tackling that now. So hopefully this wouldn't be so much of a problem, but it's still a problem at this moment in time, you know. I mean, only yesterday I heard an article from Alexander Burke, and she was talking how some promoter wanted her to lighten her skin to appear more palatable to the audiences. So things like that, you know, we're really trying hard to break down, you know, and this is the reason why why we need our people in the music business when it comes to Black music to be able to defend and to be able to support what the artists them feel, you know. We don't want someone there who would tell you, oh, are you sure? You know, this don't happen. Simply because it doesn't happen to them. But it's been happening from day one, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to do now. We're going to get more people to send us through pieces. We're still coming through, but we're going to go slightly different. So we're going for a break now. All right. All right.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Okay, and we're back. So Orlando hopefully has fixed up, and then we're going to go straight into the comments and questions again. Orlando, sir, are you with me? As he comes through, yeah, I'm going to go with this one. Donna from Romford asks, she says, when Black people have a dance, we don't do social distancing. So how long oh yeah, I think this is a question that actually Orlando just mentioned there. How long would it be before things can get back to normal and safe again? And I think that's really what Orlando said. He said 2021, really, didn't he?
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah. We'd have to. We must all come to a realization, do we not, that we've got to stick to the rules. Let's not be silly about things, and then more of us could still be here to celebrate these lovely dances next year. Would you not say so, Neil?
Yeah, I think in Spain and Portugal, where a lot of festivals exist, they have already started to allow visitors and allow people to intermingle. I think for now, maybe for the next 6 months, you're going to have social distance parties, wherein, and even clubs. So if a club capacity was, say, 300, it would probably be reduced down to 100.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I think this is a good kind of halfway measure, as opposed to having no parties at all. You just have parties and you reduce the capacity.
Yeah, of course. Patricia from Glasgow asks, what changes do you think race relations in the UK will really make a difference to the music industry? You said you're having a meeting, so she's hearing what you're saying, but he's still even questioning it. Really? Is it going to make a difference?
I think if the authorities listen, there will be a big difference. And I think we would see if radio and the media is more fair, we will see a variety in the types of music and the types of artists coming through. At this moment in time, the scene is corrupted. they only push certain people through the media, and they only push certain styles of music through the media. Now, from in the 60s, you could say from Jamaica independence, reggae music has always been successful. As soon as people could hear it, they will buy it.
Yeah.
Whether it's things like Liquidator, Young, Gifted, and Black, you're going on to people like Ken Booth, Everything I Own, Altie and Donna, Bob Marley, from people could hear it, they could buy it.
Yes.
Now, the problem is, recently, they haven't been hearing it. There's this big filter. There's always been a filter in the UK, whether it's because you need to join this label or this management, or you need to pay this plugger, things like that. But recently, the barrier has been higher. We've installed silent, silent policemen that police the whole thing. And if they don't like your face, you don't get through. And you take someone like myself now, I've run an independent label, right? Since 1979.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure if I had the support in the media, I don't need bank loans or anything. All I need is media exposure. I'm sure if I had the right media exposure, we would be more successful and in turn be able to bring on with confidence new artists like the 15-year-old young man who's writing songs. He needs to be encouraged because if he develops from the age of 15 and he's developing in the right way, who knows where he's going to be in like 5 years time, but you need facilities like my facility to be able to nourish this kind of talent. And this is why we need to be independent.
Indeed.
And the playing field need to be level. Let's be frank.
Yeah.
The corruption got to stop.
It's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Got to stop.
I don't know if many people know this, but Riwa, you funded the Back to Africa festival, Gambia. I mean, that's huge.
Yes. Well, again, because I was a teenager in the 70s, so my generation is like the first generation after slavery to really embrace the whole Africa and Back to Africa messages. Prior to that, you have to remember, as Caribbean people and Black Americans, we weren't encouraged to talk about Africa. We weren't even encouraged to even admit that we're Africans. I mean, it was extreme. So, and Garvey tried, and Garvey died, I think, in the 40s. And, whilst Garvey was alive, even a lot of people in the Caribbean and in America didn't really support Garvey. It's afterwards they realized, what this man talking, what he was talking was sense, was important. We have to love our roots. Hence, as soon as I had a chance, as soon as I had some money, I went to Gambia and I secured some land and I started the Back to Africa Festival,
Love it. Loving it. I'm not sure we're going to get Orlando back, so we have to almost now sign off. So let's just plug your bits a bit now. So Neil, give us all your social media bits.
Okay. Well, the label, the website is www.ariwa.com. Okay, and Facebook is Mad Professor or Ariwa or Neil Ariwa Frazer, any one of them. Instagram, I'll have to ask my son, but it should be easy to find, really.
I'm going to say this to you, Neil, because I read somewhere that you handed over the baton, as it were, to your son. Yeah? How hard was that?
Well, for me, it was easy because, I was like overworked, and I'm still overworked. I sleep at night and then get up halfway during my sleep with ideas, and I'm in my 60s now, so it's great to have Joe.
Good, looking good.
Well, I sleep at night. It's good to have Joe and Kamal there, my two sons, and they're really keen music people. They were doing music from they were like a year and 2 years old. They would come to the studio and assist me,
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great having them on board,
Yeah, excellent. Okay, we have to round it up, and thank you ever so much. You're the last man standing. So thank you ever so much, Neil.
Roy Washington was telling me the same thing. That's exactly how he described it.
There you are.
The last one standing. Thank you.
There you are. Take care.
All right.
And happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Nice
Bye.
one. Okie dokie. So we're gonna, oh gosh, that one flew by. We're gonna take a little break, and we're gonna be back. We're talking music still. We're talking music. See you in a bit. Now, we just heard that there, our very own homegrown record label, Ariwa Sounds. Yeah, Ariwa. Remember that? Do you remember the label? Do you remember it? Lovers Rock, Sounds Across, and I could go on and on and on. We're talking about one legendary record label to another. Let me tell you, if I say VP Records, instantly. Yeah, I know VP Records, right? Well, they recently celebrated 40 years. 40 years in the industry, and part of the celebrations that they came over to our shores every year, the UK, and put on a historical exhibition in London at the Jamaica High Commission. I caught up with the CEO, Randy Chin. Here you go. Joined by Randy Chin, who is the chairman of VP Records. We are celebrating 40 years of reggae music. Lovely to see you, Randy. Can I just say, the first time I've met you, and you've given me so much surprises. It's great to see you here, but tell us the main reason why you really are here on our shores.
So we're here today, or this week actually, to celebrate the 40th anniversary of VP Records. So we're releasing a box set that's actually released this Friday. And we're also debuting in London what we call a reggae music journey that sort of takes you through the history of VP. So
let's take a bit of a history ourselves. Now, we start off here, 1979.
Well, to give you a little bit more background, the roots of the company is from a company called Randy's Records out of Kingston. And that company was started by my mom and dad in 1958. So they had a record shop in Kingston in North Parade that turned into sort of the hub for reggae music out of Jamaica. It had the record shop, a recording studio that, very iconic songs were recorded there. And actually, this is actually circa 19, probably 70 in terms of inside the record shop.
It's a fantastic idea that your dad felt that this should happen at the time it did happen in Jamaica, because there wasn't really a lot of, I think, musical outlets where we could buy records, I should say, back then.
Right. Yeah. So the way my dad started was that he used to drive around the island collecting, changing out records in the jukeboxes all over the island. So he would go in and collect the money from the jukeboxes and put in new 7-inch records. So that was the origins of his involvement in the music business. So, he had lots of used 7-inches. So that's how we started with my mom to get into business to sell music.
And so VP stands for?
VP stands for Vincent and Patricia. That's the name of my mom and dad. So
I only learned that recently, by the way.
Yes. So this other panel shows our history when we moved to New York. So this is really the origins of VP Records. So we moved to a store on, of all places, Jamaica Avenue in Queens, New York. And this is actually the face of the original store as it stood in Jamaica. So it's sort of a Jamaican story. So it's when we moved from Kingston, Jamaica to Jamaica, Queens.
And then we move further on now. We're coming into the dancehall era.
Right. So that was a very exciting era. You've got Shabba Ranks, and you've got Capleton, and tremendous amount of talented artists, Lady Saw, Garnet Silk. So that was an incredibly important time in reggae music. And as the migrant population, the Jamaican population, was growing in New York City, as we started our business in New York, there was a huge population there to serve in terms of music. And as that population grew, they become more and more influential. And dancehall was sort of the backdrop of what was happening at the time.
What was happening around that time as well? Were producers and that coming to VP themselves and sort of wanting you, VP, to join in their quest to promote?
Right. And again, because of my family's background, from Jamaica in the 1950s to start Randy's, we had a lot of relationships with, King Jammies or Junja Laws or some of the key producers. So they used to ship us records from Jamaica, and then we would sell it all throughout the New York area. And the company grew from just sort of purchasing 7-inches or 12-inches or LPs from Jamaica into licensing the records in New York and selling them, not only in New York now, because the business started to expand. We were selling all of a sudden to Boston or Florida, and we started to expand to shipping records into London. And that sort of led us into sort of licensing deals and to really start the record label, where we were not only simply a distributor, we were actually promoting the music.
Yeah, becoming very international with it as well. So we come into the new millennium.
So this is the early 2000s, and we had the record label was going and things were going well, and we happened to come across this gentleman here, Sean Paul, and had a major hit with him. And we also were doing a lot of work with Barris Hammond, Elephant Man, Egyptian. Wayne Wonder was also had huge records. And on the root side, Morgan Heritage also, that was the origins there. So the new millennium really skyrocketed the company and dancehall music into the fore, not only in the US, but also in England and across the world.
VP Records today, it's growing and growing and growing still. So talk to me about this part of it all. You're going into a digital world now. Talk to me a bit more about that.
Right. So as the beginnings of the 2000s started, that was when Napster and the whole digital disruption started. So we had to make that transition into the download age, into the streaming age. The CDs weren't selling as much. Vinyl is coming back now, but there was a whole change in the business model from the physical CD world to the streaming world, and we had to navigate that transition. And today, this is the roster that we're working with. He's Jacure, Busy Signal, Alborosi. Alborosi is interesting because he's actually an Italian artist. And so it just signifies how global the music has gotten in terms of different parts. You know, Chris Martin, Romain, you know, Queen Africa.
These are the new folk. These are the young bloods coming into it now.
Some of
Yeah.
the people, you know, Janine, we have a record coming out with her. Busy Signal, we just put a record out. Jacure, we just did also. So these are just incredible artists that we're working with today. And as we move here, these are some of the, one of the things that VP did was create compilation series. And that compilations, because there was so much music coming out of Jamaica, you needed to sort of encapsulate it in a package and promote it. So we started a series called Reggae Gold. I think we're in our 1993. And it was sort of the definitive collection of all things reggae. It's a lot of crossover records on there. You know, all these artists were always on here. So Taurus, Richie Spice, and Etana. And this is another compilation series. This is actually our first compilation series that we did, or not the first, but this is actually Soca Gold. So we also transitioned into Soca music also. So that was a series we did, Bungie Garland, Fian Lyons. So that was also another part of what we did, because soca music was also big, you know, in the States. And obviously we created a compilation series that sort of put together all of the top soca songs. And then this is Strictly the Best, which is another series that we have that's a little bit more focused into both the dancehall and sort of lovers rock style reggae. So it's a little deeper, not as much crossover on it, but also really important compilation in terms of getting the music out to the people.
We're going and looking forward now. What is VP, you know, to us? What are you going to be telling us in, say, 10 years, 15 years from here?
I think, you know, a big part of what we're trying to do, and this is part of the exhibit, is really part of that, is really we want to strengthen all of the incredible and give credit to all of the incredible musicians that we work with, you know, strengthen reggae music, make sure that reggae music in its pure form stays as an entity. At the same time, recognize that as reggae has globalized, you've got different pockets all over the world that reggae is being played, and how do we take advantage of that and bring some of the Jamaican acts with us in that journey.
You was talking earlier, there was a panel here, and we heard, you know, eloquently what you and others had to say, but we was talking very much about the artists and the importance of the artists, and not to shun the artists, but we still want to recognize, well, you know, the music that's coming out of that artist as well. But I think it's kind of like an equal balance that we've got to do both.
Well, I mean, the artists obviously are a key part of any of the equation. They're why VP exists. So, but you know, how do you develop these artists? Because some of them, you know, some of them are very, very self-contained and can do many things on their own. Some of them not so much in terms of touring and helping with, you know, different facets of the development process. So I think that's a part of what VP, you know, is involved with and will continue to be involved with.
Randy, you've taken me through a history of VP Records. Thank you ever so much, and thank you to our viewers too. We'll be looking forward to seeing you say to me next year, 2020 summer, you will be invited on the show, so we perhaps can open the phone lines and let some of our viewers talk to you. Be willing to do that for me?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. I'm going to take another look around these wonderful images of, you know, the history of VP Records. Great. That's great. Very, very nice man, actually. Very nice man. Hopefully, we're going to be doing some, if you will, some sort of linking up together with VP Records 2021. Maybe even the back end of 2020. Who knows? Maybe even the back end of 2020. Right. So now it's got me into the sort of musical vibe. So at this point, who best to bring it on than the Dark Persuader himself? Anthony Jordan. For some reason, Anthony isn't there yet. Right. Okay. So what we're going to do, just to remind you all anyway, that a bit later on, we're going to be giving you 2 more questions. We've got 2 hampers now. It's not just Dargetti. Greaties hamper here going on. It's not just Dargetti. It's also going to be a lovely hamper from Luster's Incorporated, and that one is sort of like our Father's Day celebrations Father's Day celebrations today. And so we're going to pose 2 questions to you. We're also going to announce the winner of last week's competition, where we posed a question, and you know there was a lot of good and correct answers. There's also a lot of mistakes, as like Anthony said earlier. I think he got it slightly wrong, you know, about the way he posed the question. So let's see, we're going to do it great this week again, but we've got 2 hampers up. So we're looking forward to getting some musical treats now with Anthony, and I know he's got a couple of really good guests, including somebody called, what's her name again? Oh yeah, Jade-Marie Joseph. You know, keep forgetting her name every week. I don't know why. You know, but there you go. So I can't believe the Dark Persuader is not on it. Dark Persuader, come and talk to me. Talk to me now. Okay. I wonder if I should give out, you know, whilst he's mucking about, let me perhaps even pose a question now to you. Aha, I've got one. This is for the hamper. I'll let Anthony do the Lusters one. So this is for the hamper, the Dargetti Teas hamper. So here's the question I'm going to pose to you. What was the record label created by Neil Frazer, aka the Mad Professor? What was the record label created by Neil Frazer, aka the Mad Professor? That question has gone out. What you do is you email us, you text us, you message us, whatever, all our platforms that we'll mention it again at the end of the show, and you give us the correct answers, and you jumble it up, and we pick out one random. All right. So what was the record label created by Neil Frazer, aka the Mad Professor? Okay. It's our very UK brand record label, reggae, dub style. They call it dub style. All right. I'm still waiting. And in the studio, lo and behold, I think we've got Jade-Marie that's come up quite quickly here. Jade-Marie, are you actually with me? Am I going to be doing you? This is looking weird. Am I going to be doing you, Jade-Marie?
You ask us why we're angry and hurt. I'll give you a few reasons, and these are only the tip of the iceberg. From the beginning, we came to you with love from the heart. We helped you build things you couldn't start. You saw it as a weakness and tore us down, stole our souls, our land, our crown. We taught you maths, science, and astrology. But you raped, pillaged, and tried to figure out our biology. Forced us into a barbaric situation, trapped, broken, no longer had our formation. Beaten, whipped, I could go on. I think you're kind of getting it now. Try not to be wrong and strong. You tried to make us forget our greatness, reshape our history, rewrite our glory. No more, thanks, we'll take it from here. We'll write our own story. Many years later, we try to fight for our rights, to still be silenced and lynched at the dead of night. Malcolm, Martin, Rosa, and many more fought for things our ancestors couldn't do before. They stood, they shouted, they sat on a bus, and no matter the consequences, they knew it was a must. We will no longer have these issues suppressed. We will talk, we will have these problems addressed. We shout through our ancestors. We continue to be loud because we are black, and yes, we are proud. So before you ask us, why are they so angry? Why are they fighting back against unlawful brutality? Educate yourself. See what's right in front of your eyes. Analyze the media carefully. Don't believe all of their lies. And then you might see why we're still fighting for black lives.
Proud. I am so proud. What can I say? As a friend of that, I think we're joined back by Anthony. Uh-huh. Yeah. I think I'm going to be taking over this bit. I don't know where Anthony at the moment.
I was
But
there.
I can't believe it. Yeah, just looking to mama. Oh, let me get out of here.
Off! Off! Off!
Bye.
Bye-bye. Jade,
Yes, Anthony.
the talented one. People are saying the three of us. We don't want the three of us. Bye, Pam. No, thank you very much. I was still on the piano. Stevie was giving me lessons. That's why you guys couldn't get me earlier. But no, touching and powerful video. Where did you get the words from?
So I was sitting down and I came up with one line. Can't remember what line it was. It was just one line, and I made sure it rhymed. And then I thought, do you know what? Let me just, because it was my expression to seeing comments about why are they doing that? How dare they? And it's kind of like, and obviously I can't respond to every single person that's basically saying why are Black people angry and why we fight back. So do you know what I mean? That was my only way of basically kind of getting everyone in one time. And I just started writing, and it just kind of came, and that's what I came up with. Yeah. Do
you know what? I salute.
Thank you.
Like, well, your mum had a round of applause. I do feel bad for kicking her out, but it's your moment now, you know. But no, honestly, no, it heartfelt. It really represents what a lot of us are feeling at the moment, the frustration that is out there, and you've spoken for us in such a way that I have to say thank you more than congratulations. Congratulations is there, but definitely thank you, because
thank you so much.
It says it in such a way. So in this time, as I said, a couple of weeks ago, we've introduced you as like the comedy section, if you would. And we've seen two powerful messages. I'm totally for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm 100% behind that. What is it like at the moment for someone in the creative position? What kind of flows into your psyche at the moment, is the right word to put it?
Right. So it was it's been basically kind of hard for me to touch on comedy at the moment. So even though actually as an actress, I actually do more serious and more if you want to call it, I suppose, more dramatic performances anyway. So my comedy is actually here and there. So I'm actually more trained in dramatic performances than comedy. But I love comedy. I feel it's my strength. But at the time, right now, it's been a bit, I can't express that. But I don't know, for me personally, things are starting to slightly get a bit lighter. So I'm not so into that kind of, how dare they and what's going on and, all of this, even though it's still obviously very touching to me about what's happening with the Black Lives Matter and all that. But it's just like, now I'm just saying, okay, take a breath. And I had to come off social media actually for a while.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. I had a few debates where I was like just trying to interact with people who didn't get it. And you find yourself either tired of explaining, tired of defending, or just tired of reading it. So I know exactly how you feel on that. And I've got a few friends who've done the same.
Yeah. It's at these times you have to really think about your mental health. And
for sure.
No matter what, it will still have an impact on you, even if you don't think it does. Subconsciously it is. So I just thought, you know what, just take time and just be easy. And I'm going to start once again going back into like just more lighter performances that don't necessarily have anything to do with the movement, even though it's always still here. It's just not going to be
just to break away from it for a bit, isn't it?
For a bit.
But I will say it. Obviously, we're working together on this, so I don't feel like I'm giving permission. But if there are any more movements and keeping it going, bring them, because it's there. So
100%.
Let's mix it up, because I think that's what we need. I think we need those little reminders. As you said, it doesn't need to hammer in, but just those little reminders every now and again, it will be more than appreciated. And I'm speaking for the viewers here kind of casually on that one, but no, for sure. But for anyone who wants to see a mix of all that Jade-Marie Joseph is up to, socials, where can they catch it all?
Yes, so my Instagram is the main thing that I use. My Instagram is @Jade_Titch, TITCH, and my Twitter is @JadeM_actress, and my Facebook is just Jade. I nearly forgot to say my name. Jade-Marie Joseph.
As per the screen, yeah. There's a little hint in case you can't remember it, yeah. No, Jade, fantastic stuff as usual, and we will catch you next week. All right.
Yes,
Have a
Anthony.
nice one.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Okay, that was Jade-Marie Joseph. As again, people, apologies for these slight. When you got piano lessons with Stevie Wonder, what you're going to do? You can't say no. You just got to wait. But no, right now it's an honor to introduce an artist who is mellowing your old school roots reggae with the dancehall vibe. He's got a fantastic sound, and on top of that, he actually featured in a film with Idris Elba. Can I please introduce the one, the only, Mr. Bryan Art? Hey, Bryan.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, how you doing, sir? Sorry, can I just ask a small favor? Can you just twist your screen the other way? Okay. So, thank you for having us, for being and giving us your time.
Well, pleasure is mine. Thanks to you.
No. So tell us, how did the journey of Bryan Art begin? Where did your influences come from to want to enter the world of music?
Yeah, well, it was so gradual that I'm gonna just start where I got into the music professionally. Because, well, I went to college. I did music formally, not my vocals, instrumental. I was formally trained as a guitarist.
Yes.
Vocals pretty much raw. You know.
Okay.
I picked up a little tutoring here and there, you know, but I mean, mostly just natural vibe. But I went to a college, big up Edna Manley College, you know, great college where, you know, they train people in all different facets of arts, performing arts and visual arts. And that's where I got discovered, and got this big gig at the time, you know, to play in a band named Firehouse Crew with Luciana and Sizzla being the main artists at the time. And I toured with them for a while. And then after that now, I formed a band called Grassroots with Bushman and a lot of other artists. So we did a lot of work and touring all over the world. And then, you know, I started recording with a label named Fui Music with some mostly Berry Hammond families. And I started recording with them as a guitarist. And then I started, you know, recording my own solo stuff. Because, I mean, I'd always wanted to be a singer. But, I mean, I was kind of between two minds. I was thinking of just being a producer and just writing and things. But they kind of drew me out, you know. People like Bushman, people like Lenormand and Courtney John, then Yogi. They, you know, kept telling me. I even wrote songs for people like Lucian, and, you know, they kept telling me that, yo, just sing the song. I just couldn't get away from it. And I mean, I got in there and I got comfortable and liking it, you know, so. Yeah.
Big. So, I mean, okay, we're talking about the Firehouse Crew, Luciano, Sizzla, Black Uhuru. Then you've got the Grassroots band, Bushman. Like, so you've done that, and then you've got these artists who, again, as you said, at the time was a big gig, and they're endorsing you, that they're saying you've got the talent to sing those songs. What was that feeling like for you?
It was a great feeling because, I mean, you know, Luciana was, I mean, still is, but I mean, because I'm talking about that point in time, you know, a really great vocalist, clean, you know, perfect vocalist. And
for sure.
I remember when Fatai's label had called me to write a song for Luciana, and because I was kind of making a little name in the writing thing, and I wrote the song, and, you know, they loved the song, and when he came to the studio and he was listening to the demo, and it's like he was saying, yo, but I don't understand why you want me to sing over this song. And it's like, I mean, I was actually the one who had to pull him in a corner and convince him, say, yo, Bridget, this was inspired by you, the project, the Luciana project. So trust me, it's your song, it's not my song. And it took much, but eventually we got him back in the studio, and he did the song. And I mean, it felt good that all these people, and want to tell you that was one of the times when I realized that, I really have to take this on seriously, because the people who were advising me, were serious, a bit more serious than I was taking them. So I just decided that, we're going to do this, So I just stepped in the room. Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. So you talked about being a writer, being a producer, and as I mentioned prior, you've got that roots reggae fused with a bit of bashment.
Right.
When you step into the studio, and I always like to say this just to kind of get the mentality of an artist. Mm-hmm. When you step into the studio, what is the first thing you lean for? Is it the pen and the pad? Is it the production, or is it that you have some words and you're trying to put a beat to it?
Well, my thing is pretty much informal and whimsical. I don't have any set approach to my creative process. I can be inspired by whatever. So I take it from whatever angle the inspiration comes. It might be a guitar track and you're hearing a melody, or it can be just pure silence and you just hear something in your head. It can be an instrument, it can be a melody, a vocal melody with words or whatever. So I just take it from whatever direction it comes, and then we just add accordingly. Because sometimes you hear a melody and you just feel like you need a guitar accompaniment with it, and then you do that, and then after you do that, you hear the next thing. It's like you hear it in your head. So when you go to the studio, it's pretty much, you following the calling. So we just always
that's nice.
Open,
Cool. That. I like that. I like the flow of that. So we've talked music. I'm going to touch more on the music as to what you're coming up, but there's a small part I need to grow in that. You stepped out of the studio and onto the film set. You were actually in the film Yardie. How did that come about?
Let's caution that if you don't look quickly, you don't see
You're still in it. I'm not, so you're in it.
I don't know. That's always the response I get. Every time I say that, I get that response. But a lot of people know about this experience of being filmed and getting edited out. So I think I got probably 50% in based upon what happened. But the first connection that was made in relation to that project was through Amin, the star of the movie.
Yes.
And my role was to be his dialect coach.
Okay.
I was not his official dialect coach, but I became that because we kind of link up through a mutual friend, and then it just happened, and for weeks, sometimes he would come to Jamaica, or sometimes we link on like WhatsApp or whatever, and I would go through like the script with him and stuff, and then eventually I get to meet Idris and all the people involved. Well, most of the main people involved, and and they offered me the role to do that, and I was kind of leaning my ears. So it was a welcome to call, and
big
call me again.
But is that something you would want to get into more, acting?
I don't know if I could take it out full time because it's a lot of work. I love work.
I believe that.
Music, my time would have to be shared because I love music so much, and I have to be doing music. I love acting. And, acting is what we do every day. You walk out on the road.
It's true.
And I usually picture myself in films, doing stuff.
I like that mentality. I like that.
Stuff that you can only get away with on film.
I I hear you. I hear you. So bringing it back to the music now. What's up next? What any tracks coming out? I know at the moment we've got a lockdown, so I can't say for a tour. But any plans that you've got for the moment that we can look out for?
Of course, you know, right now is not where we can make too much of a solid plan because you know, of what's going on with the COVID-19 thing.
Yeah.
From ever since the year started, we, you know, kind of have to be on waiting mode, in limbo, because a lot of shows have been cancelled and stuff. And my album that I'm working on, the process got, you know, retarded because the musicians, a lot of them are all over the place. They used to travel. Well, I'm doing a project with a new label that we call G Black, which involves myself and some members of Gumshan Band. But Gumshan Band was famous first, I think, for being Barry Salmon's backing band, and then but real talented musicians. The drummer initially used to be in Chalice, the keyboard player used to be with Jimmy Cliff. So it's really, you know, some really great musicians that I've been working with on an album that is supposed to be named after the first single that was put out. The single was called Can't Cut With Vibes, but there's a punchline in there, More Love, More Life. So the album is called More Love, More Life. So that is kind of, we're still working on it, but, you know, we're all over the place, so we have to be, you know, sending files across the ocean. So
yes, yeah,
a lot of time. So right now I'm in promotion mode, and the new single is called Up High, and
okay.
that's album. So we're kind of pushing that. So I'm doing a lot of features right now on online, like live streams on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We did the last 2 weeks on a Monday evening, and tomorrow, Monday evening coming, we're gonna be doing another live. So we're trying to use social media, you know, as much as we can to keep ourselves fresh and alert for when the space is open for us physically.
Yeah.
Go out there, because trust me, we're musicians and we just love to be on the stage in front of people. You know what I mean? You know, social media offers like the better alternative right now. But I mean, you know, we can't wait. We can't wait.
Nah, I hear that.
You know, being on the stage live in front of the people who love your work.
Perfect. Bryan, time is catching up on us. You've talked about how social media works. For everyone who's been interested in what you're saying, could you just give out all of your social medias out there so they know where they can get in contact with you?
Oh, sure. If you get Bryan Art Music, it's Bryan, Bryan Artmuzr. Well, you're in England, so it's Z, M-U-Z-K. So it's Bryan Art Music, and that serves right across the board.
Perfect.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and even my email, bryanartmusic@gmail. So you have my covered.
Perfect. And we always like to do this when we have an artist in our presence. Can we get a short a cappella from you before we introduce your video?
Yes, sir, sure. Okay, so which one I must have gear on? New or old? What are new? Ooh. Keep your eyes on the thing, man, if that you want. And lift it up again and never make it slant. Set it on the prize and never say you can't. I tell you every time, yeah, get it in your head, there's more than bread. Watch every word when I tell you just to get it in your head, there's more than bread. Whatever on your mind, yeah, get it. I tell you every time you don't understand. No, get it. Whatever on the mind, it controls the man. Yeah.
Thank you. Love that. Bryan, it's been an absolute pleasure. When all of this is over, As you said, it's good to be on stage, but we'd love to have you in studio, to have you in person and go a bit deeper into what Bryan Art is up to. But it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Trust me, I've begun looking forward to that.
Most definitely. Great stuff. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard him. You've had an a cappella from him, but right now we're going to treat you to a bit of his music video. This is Bryan Art, Can't Cut with Vibes. Enjoy.
So you never know. Come on, you never know. Even voice you should have known man a Jamaican. Not because we look so cool in a Ray-Ban. Yeah, real vibes man I promote. Some of them don't know me, but them let them feel so loud. You know them can't cut with vibes. More love, more life. You know them can't cut with vibes. More love, more life. Them can't cut with vibes. We got it in we blood. Roots up in anytime we touch the road. Cut with vibes. We got it in we blood. Roots up in every time. Hey, give me the greens, but I want no bacon. And if you deal with certain things, but I want no shake hand. Yo, humble out in our creation. And I don't work for praise and congratulations. Certain things we don't support. Give thanks for what we have and what we don't do without. They can't cut with vibes. More love, more life. Can't cut with vibes. More love, more life. Them can't cut with vibes. We got it in we blood. Full step in anytime we touch the road. Cut with vibes. We got it in we blood. Full step in every time. Oh, you never know. You see the black, you see the green, you see the gold, but you never know. Cause you never see the depth of the soul when we go. Certain things we don't promote. Give thanks for what we have and what we don't do without. Them can't cut with life. More love, more life. You know them can't cut with life. More love, more life. Them can't cut with vibes. We got it in we blood. Cut with vibes, we got it in we blood. Full step in every time. Oh, you never know. You never know. Come on. You never know. In a voice you should have known man a Jamaican. Not because we look so cool in a Ray-Ban. Yeah, real vibes I promote. Some of them don't know we but them ready to sell out. You know them can't cut with vibes. More love, more life. You know they can't cut me life. More love, more life. Them can't cut me vibes. We got it in we blood. Roots up in every time we touch the road. Cut me vibes. We got it in we blood. Roots up in every time. Them can't cut me vibes. More love, more life. Yes, they say them can't cut me vibes. More love, more life.
Okay, so I thought I'd just go for a bit of a dance because Bryan Art had a big tune there. So it's, you know, you have to enjoy the vibe. So this is the basement of the flat, just in case anyone's wondering. The flat, the mansion. Okay, can I welcome Pam back, please? Thank you very much, also. I totally agree, Bryan. Big stuff. What's this about? I can't hear you. I think we're muting the jealousy. It's totally fine.
I've got a rant and raved as I've seen the spotlights. You're such a show off. What's going on?
It's the basement. It's the basement.
1 minute you're in a penthouse flat with your big king size piano.
But then when you have tune, you must dance, isn't it?
All right. When you had your 6 numbers, you must dance, isn't it?
Of course. As I said, the check is in the post.
What happened to you earlier, man? You were playing your piano.
I had Stevie Wonder was giving me lessons. I'm sorry. It's just the way it goes.
You could have put out Stevie. I don't get this.
Anyway, he didn't teach me to sing, so I won't do any damage there. And different keyboard in front of me right now. So
we've got a message. Also, Nash has said, talented artist and lovely video.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So big up Bryan. Big up Bryan. And we will be featuring more of him in the future. But with time catching up on us, I think it's that time.
It's that
competition time.
When you were off air, I had to give out a question already for Digetti. My question was, now, I said Neil Frazer created a UK reggae record label. What is the name of that record label? Good one, huh?
I like that. I like that.
So that's for the Digetti. That's for the Digetti.
Okay. Right, cool.
So what is the question? You're going to do this one. Lusters celebrating Father's Day. What's the question?
You know what? Let's keep it with Bryan for my question. Bryan Art featured very briefly in a film produced by Idris Elba, main star Amil Amin. What was the name of that film? It's one for the UK, so that's it. There you go. Okay, Bryan Art featured very briefly. He provided the vocal training to Amil Amin, so he's got a lot of power in that film. Even though you blink, you miss him, as he said. That he's very pivotal in that film. So that's the question.
Yeah, that is the question. Okay,
there we go.
So they posed their answers, and we got the various ways to do that. Once again, you got the YouTube Media Net Live, and you got the Facebook page Lifestyle on Ben, or you've also got the Lifestyle on Ben at hotmail.co.uk. Various ways you can do that. You can do that on the Twitter as well. You can tweet us.
Indeed.
Everything else, and anyone who missed out today's show and their family and friends saying, "Oh, didn't get to see it," you can also still go back on the YouTube, but also the whole show in its entirety is going to be on Ben Television. That's on the Sky platform 458, Fridays from 10 a.m. and following Monday from 5 p.m.
That is correct. That is indeed correct. Okay, so that is the one. Just want to put a big thank you to all of our sponsors: Digetti Teas, Luster Products, Tamara Event Designers, MediaNet. Everyone who's tuned in, it's been a great one. Is there anything you'd like to add, Pam, before I call our last video?
Our guests. So thank you to our guests. So, their important schedules, whatever. Thank you to our guests, and also certainly, as you just said, anyone that has tuned in and supporting us and giving us the likes. We need the likes. We need to get it going on. We need lifestyle still and going on there. Yeah.
And another thing, guys. Sorry to cut you, Pam.
We can't do the show without them.
If you're on Facebook, just press the share button. Just sharing is caring.
Press it.
There you go.
So Anthony, we give our motive now. Stay safe.
Indeed, we do.
Strong and stay blessed. And you're going to give us one last video to come out in.
Do you know what? Anyone who's followed the Lifestyle Show knows this is my Father's Day track. I had the honor of interviewing this gentleman as well. This is Christopher Martin, and it's the song for Father's Day, Just Like You. So everyone have a great rest of your weekend. If you're still on furlough, enjoy the rest. Until the next week, we are out.
We're out. Stay safe.
My daddy went for a walk just the other day with my daddy right beside me. Son, what you wanna be when you grow up? I don't wanna be no policeman, cause crime is getting out of hand. No liar, no fireman. He said, what you wanna be then? Just like you. Me never ever see this, my mommy. Take care of me, you'd like you take care of me. That's who I wanna be, just like you, yeah. No, if you don't know them, daddy, thank God me know mine and him take care of me. Daddy, I'm a general. My boss a blank for my daddy. From the day my body's always been there for me. Through the ups and downs, you've always been around. So every day me show you love and not just Father's Day alone. Daddy, let me tell you straight, there's no greater man I'd want to emulate. I know that Mandela and Obama great, but in my life you are my head of state. Like you, always see you kiss my mommy, hug up and squeeze and caress my mommy. That's who I wanna be, just like you, yeah. No, if you don't know them, daddy, thank God me know mine and him take care of me. Daddy, I'm a general. Oh, genius, bad done. From me a little youth, now me turn a big man. You ever teach me right, so know you never lead me wrong. Teach me how to love, respect and treat a good man. Mommy said she see you when she sees my face. She smiles, so there is no disgrace. Your love would in a happy place. So I gotta say I wanna be like you. Treat my girl like you treat my mommy. Kill her with love but don't abuse her body. That's who I wanna be, just like you, yeah. No, you don't know them daddy, thank God me know mine and him take care of me. Daddy, I'm a general. I couldn't sing another song for you. Realest thing from my heart, you know it's true. Daddy, I want my son to grow up and be just like you. I wouldn't want it no other way than like you. Yeah. Oh, like you, Daddy. I want my son to grow up and be just like you. Yeah. Just like you. Me never ever see this, my mommy. Take care of me, you'd like you take care of me. That's who I wanna be, just like you, yeah. No, if you don't know them, daddy, thank God me know mine and him take care of me. Daddy, I'm a general.